Hello, host families. Thank you for hosting an international student with ISP. We have worked with international students for over 25 years, and much of our success is due to our dedicated and generous host families. The main office is in Los Altos, California. We pride ourselves on excellent customer service, and if you have any questions at any point of the hosting process, we will be happy to help you. We have a general timeline and process for hosting our short-term groups. Please keep in mind this process of placements is very human and can easily divert from this general path. ISP will first arrange the group's program with the agency and receive details on their stay. ISP will confirm host families for the group of students. 2 weeks before they arrive, ISP will send your host information to the agency. 1 week before arrival, ISP will send you a welcome packet and your students' profiles. Once you receive this information, please feel free to reach out to your students via email to introduce yourselves. Finally, the students arrive and will meet for a pickup at a central location. The welcome packet is an essential document for each short-term group. Please be sure to read the packet through thoroughly, as it will contain pertinent details for the day of arrival, a school schedule, ideas for meal and free time, a student roster, and much more. Most short-term students will take public transportation to and from school. It is important that you physically show your student where the nearest bus or train stop is. Please make sure your student is comfortable and remind them of basic safety precautions. There are exceptions because every group is slightly different. Some may require hosts to drive to and from school. Please refer to the welcome packet if you are unsure if you need to drive the student or they will be taking public transit. On this slide, please find some meal ideas that will be included in the welcome packet. Every student is different, so I encourage you to have a conversation when your student arrives about what foods they like or don't like. Most short-term students will be responsible for providing their own lunch and snacks. Host families are required to provide breakfast and dinner every day. Breakfast is continental, but please be mindful that students are used to hot meals, not the typical American breakfast. The only requirement for dinner is that it is prepared at home 5 of the 7 nights. For the other 2 nights, you may have them eat leftovers, order takeout, or find something else if you won't be cooking. These are a few ideas of fun things you can do with your students. Please remember that your students want to see as much as they can during their short stay. Oftentimes, this will be your students' one chance to come visit America. On the day of arrival, all host families will meet at a central location to pick up these students. We will have a representative from ISP at the arrival to help facilitate the welcome and give the host families payment. The students will be very excited to meet you and finally arrive, but will also be exhausted from traveling so far. ISP will communicate with you directly about details for the day of departure. Oftentimes, the students will need to be dropped off at the same meeting location as their arrival. Please compile a short list of house rules. International students often understand things better when they are written out because their written skills are much stronger than their oral communication skills. These are just a few examples. Of course, please feel free to include any additional ones your family follows. Please don't overload your students with too many rules. Short-term students have medical insurance that is provided either by their school in their home country or their school in the United States. All students will have a medical insurance card. If your student has a non-urgent health concern, please have them tell their chaperone and/or school personnel so they can assist them in going to the health center on campus. For emergencies, please take your student to the hospital. Here are a few important reminders to keep in mind. Sitting down for dinner and having regular conversations with your students is very important. Truly, the more communication, the better. You may need to physically show your students certain things to ensure they understand fully. This can include how to work your laundry machines, how to lock the front door, and how to get to the nearest bus stop. Please remember every short-term group is very different. ISP will be sure to communicate fully if there are any changes at any point. American culture is a big shock for the students. Plumbing and water usage is vastly different, and you may have to reinforce that there is a drought in California. Please remind your students to use much less toilet paper and to limit the length of their showers. Your students may not be used to not having air conditioning as well. ISP has an emergency line that is available 24 hours a day. Please do not hesitate to call it. Host families are so important to the student success and immersion process, so thank you again for hosting with ISP.